All right, cool. Cool.
Okay, for this edition of Top 5 Thursday, before the internet connection drops out, I am joined by Tyler Kilgore, who's going to help me do the top 5 MLB ballparks. Tyler, do you know why I picked you for this specific one?
Because I am in love with baseball stadiums and baseball itself. It's all I thought about in high school and all I think about probably now besides my job.
Yes, exactly. So before we start, like, what was kind of your criteria for picking yours? I have a couple things, but what do you look at when you're looking at a good baseball stadium?
I would just say the presence that it makes for the fans, just how it makes them feel, even watching it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it on TV,
Ooh.
and then if I had to experience at the stadium actually the history. I mean, I took that into consideration a little bit, but
No, that's a good point about like a good ballpark because even when you're watching it on TV, it's like one of those things where it's like I wish I was there. Like the view is
right.
amazing, like but when you are there, the great food, like how easy it is to get in and out, like the whole total experience, I think is something that I also took into account. How before we get going, how many ballparks have you been to?
So let's see here. I think 8 total.
Wow.
And I was actually had a plan in September to go to all of the stadiums in California. I was going to hit them all because there was a good home stretch for all of them. But now baseball season, COVID-19, everything got canceled. So it kind of messed everything up because I think my list probably would have changed if I got to go to a few parks down there that I haven't been down to yet.
Wow, I had no idea you. Because I have five. The most exotic being Miami.
Yeah,
Most of the ones I've been to are like Mid Atlantic, but like, didn't you say
yeah.
you went to Dodger Stadium or something?
I was going to go to Dodger Stadium. I've been to Oracle Stadium, which is the Giants Stadium. I've been to Petco, and my two that we're going to go to in September was Anaheim and Dodgers.
Ah, dang,
So yeah, it didn't work out. So I was going to check out Oakland too, even though it's the crappiest. But
the worst. Yeah.
yeah, I was going to at least check it out, see how it was.
Dang. Okay. Well, let's get going. What is your number five pick for your best stadium?
So even though I haven't been there, I still have to put Dodger Stadium on my top five just because of the history. How many people it can hold. I think it can hold like 56,000 or something crazy like that. So you can fill it up, and it's amazing. Probably the loudest ever. The Dodger dog. Love the Dodger dog. It's the classic food of baseball, I think. Um, and it kind of takes you away from the city too. You look at the backdrop there. You got the mountains. You got that cool scenery, and kind of forget about the city and the craziness going on in LA and stuff. So that's my number five.
So actually, your number five is actually my number five. I also had Dodger
Oh,
Stadium. For everything you just said, like the mountain view, it's out there in
yeah,
Chavez Ravine. Lots of great history. Like a lot of big time baseball moments have happened at Dodger Stadium. The Dodger dog and the weather. I read that they had an 18-year stretch where they didn't have a rainout.
yeah, isn't that amazing?
That's insane.
Like half my family lives down there, so the rain thing's amazing. I mean, it's hot and all, but it's awesome
Yeah,
down there. So it's pretty
exactly.
cool. And Vin Scully too. I mean, he puts a lot, to Dodgers as well. That's just history in a making right there.
No, that's one of the reasons I love watching the Dodgers. Even though he doesn't do the games anymore, when Vin
Right,
was doing the call, you get like
right,
chills.
right. Exactly,
Dang.
exactly. It
What's
was that.
what's your number four pick?
I actually picked Coors Field. I love Coors Field. I don't know if it's because it gives me that '90s feel with the uniforms, with the Rockies logo. I just love the way the ball carries. I love watching Mark Reynolds crush balls. I hope he crushes balls when he's 50 years old there in Colorado. Be amazing. I just love the fact that you could be 45 years old and still go to Coors Field and crush 30 home runs a year. So I just had to pick that. The backdrop's beautiful. The backdrop of the mountains, just kind of like LA a little bit too. I mean, in a bigger aspect. I like the weather there, the weather scheme. I like how it's up there.
I saw, I didn't have Coors on my list, but I saw Coors Field listed on a lot of other people's lists.
Yeah,
It does look awesome, and
yeah.
it's definitely bucket list for sure.
Like I don't think it in a stadium sense. If like I had to pick it based on presence, I don't think it would be in my top five, but I put it on mine as being overall. Like if I was to make a stadium, I would have stuff like that in my stadium and stuff like that. So Coors Field was definitely pretty cool. I love the color scheme. You know,
Oh yeah.
Ravens, the purple, black, the white. It's just it gives you that '90s feel, and we don't have that anymore in a lot of these MLB baseball games and baseball teams and stuff. So that's why they're my number four.
That's a solid pick. My
Yeah.
number four, I'm going to the Bay. I'm going Oracle Park out there in San
Okay.
Francisco.
Yep.
So, look, it's right on the bay, so McCovey Cove, a lot of homers hit out there. It
Yep.
would have been higher. I would have put it higher. However, in April and May, and then also in the fall, you ever see games there where people are in like winter jackets and stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Yep.
insanely cold there. It's
It
because it's
is.
got that wind coming off the water.
When when
Um,
I, when I went deeper into the season. It was freezing, and the ball doesn't carry as much in that cold air as you would think.
it's got the triples alley out there in right field,
Oh, I love it.
the
I love it. That's
little
my favorite
corner
part.
thing.
Yep.
Watching Hunter Pence play the ball off the wall there was something very very funny to watch.
Oh,
Um,
the arm angles he has is amazing.
yeah. uh, what was the temperature out there when you went?
Oh man, I don't even know. I know we were bundled up. I was so young when I went, and
Oh,
I'll relocate. The dogs are acting foolish. Um, but yeah, I was probably like 13, maybe. I don't even remember. It was cold though. It was probably in close to 40, maybe in the high
oh my
50s,
God,
or low 50s. It was icy.
that's not
So
baseball weather.
no, it's not. But hey, it worked. So it
Yeah,
was cool.
it's it's one of those things where if it's midsummer, the weather's good in San Fran. You got like probably 75 and sunny every day out there.
Right.
Here's something I like, and I don't know if you're kind of in the same boat. I like stadiums a little bit of a smaller capacity because the
Mhm.
seats are basically right on top of the field.
Right. Right. Yep. I feel you on that. I just love the brick feel to it too. Maybe
Yes,
that maybe just the way it's kind of incorporated inside the stadium, like inside the actual field of play. I think that's pretty cool.
absolutely. What is your number three pick?
So my number three is your number four, Oracle Park. Um, I picked it. I always loved the classic glove and the Coke bottle in left field in the back. Something about it that's like iconic. If they get rid of it, I'll be upset. Um, Definitely the Cove, the kayaks all lined up, just waiting for a home run ball from a left-handed hitter.
Yep.
Uh, Triples alley that can definitely turn into an inside the park home run.
Mm-hmm.
Always watching that craziness go on with the right fielder and the center fielder trying to figure it all out. So, and a lot of things you said, it's kind of a smaller ballpark, so it's kind of like everything's incorporated in, and they definitely pay to everything that's going on out there. Like like the panda when he was there, the presence that he brought with the different races in San Francisco was pretty cool. So it's cool to see. They definitely incorporate a lot there with the ethnicities.
I dig it. Yeah. Apparently, when I was doing my research on this, like it's apparently really easy to get in and out. Like there's a lot of public
Yeah.
transportation that takes you there, and it's like kind of in the city, so you can just go walk wherever. So
And
that's
that's
gotta
what
be awesome.
actually I heard because my family goes to Dodger Stadium a lot. That's one thing that's kind of a bad thing about Dodger Stadium is you can only get to Dodger Stadium basically by car. There's no train system, no bus station really. It's by car and it's a traffic jam already in LA. So it's
Yeah,
double horrible.
you kind of got to leave probably like 3 hours ahead of time to get out there to
I,
Chavez Ravine.
I would say out of all the California stadiums, Oracle Park's definitely got it going on when it comes to moving in and out. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So my number three pick. This is the second oldest stadium in baseball. It's Wrigley Field, 106 years old this year. Nostalgia out the ass. Like the
Yeah.
manual scoreboard, the brick wall in the ivy, the
Class.
bleachers, the freaking bleachers. I want to do that one day. And
Yeah.
also, it's in like Wrigleyville, so
Right.
there's houses and bars and stuff around there,
Yeah.
which I find hilarious.
Yeah, it's just in everything. You hit a home run, you're some dude's yelling at you to get off his lawn.
Yeah, like I just find it so weird. Like you come home from work and you live in Wrigleyville and you're like on a game day. You're just in like there's Cub fans everywhere.
Right. Yeah. That was actually in my honorable mentions. That's there that and a few others. Wrigley almost got my top five because they were going to be probably my number four, but Coors jumped up there. So, but Wrigley
Yeah.
Field, classic Ivy is amazing. I do love that classic Ivy look and stuff like that.
You got to catch the ivy in the summer because in
Yeah.
April and like whenever it's like dead looking and you just see the brick wall.
Right. Right.
So you got to catch it at the right time. But a game in the bleachers, drinking a
Yeah.
bunch of beers and crushing hot dogs, bucket list for sure.
Sounds like the life, don't
Yeah, exactly.
it?
But Wrigley number three. What is your number two pick?
My number two is PNC Park, the Pirates. The classic yellow Robert Clemente Bridge. It's amazing. I don't know, that just backdrop is probably the one of the best ones, minus one or two in baseball. I just love it. It's a classic look. If you hit the ball hard enough, it goes into that Allegheny River back there.
Yep.
Uh, you can see downtown Pittsburgh, even though I hate Pittsburgh. It's still a decent looking city, I guess, from a backdrop. Uh, that's really it. Just it's iconic, I guess, with that yellow bridge. I guess playing MLB The Show is probably where I got that pick from. Just when they zoom in on it, you see the classic yellow bridge. It's just an iconic stadium, I guess, for me in my childhood, I guess you would say. So that's why it's my number two.
That's a solid pick. Maybe not this year because COVID, but
Right.
whenever there's not a pandemic, you have to get out there. I've been
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
The best experience.
I've been twice as well, and
Oh,
I've been
gotcha.
twice when they were actually decent. So it was like a filled up stadium. They were playing a good rival, so it was a very good atmosphere. It almost felt like a football game, Ravens versus Steelers. When they play a rival, so it was kind of a good time.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to say I don't want to ruin anything, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Uh, your number two is PNC. My number two, Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
Okay,
All right, yeah, I know. Just
it had to
bear
be
with
up there.
me.
It had to be up there.
For those of you guys who aren't familiar, this is the ballpark that kind of launched that whole retro stadium movement. It was
Yep.
built in the early '90s. Before this, all the other stadiums were like those big multi-use, disgusting, like you have a football team in there also in a big circle basically, and they
Right.
didn't really care about unique characteristics or
Right.
if before this they probably would have tore down the warehouse, but the
Yeah.
Oriole Park they're like we could use this as a
Yeah.
backdrop.
If they would have lost that, they would have lost the most iconic look to Camden Yards for sure. It would have just been at that point just a regular stadium.
Right. Like I feel
It,
like any other stadium would have been like, this thing is old and gross. Why don't we tear it down? But no,
yeah.
Baltimore uses it. Home runs
Yeah.
off the warehouse.
Yeah. It
Uh,
reminds me so much of if you don't take in consideration you in the warehouse, almost like the Cleveland Indian Stadium in a sense. Like it has that same feel. I've never been to the Indian Stadium, but watching it on TV, I remember watching it on the Major League movies and stuff.
Major
It
League
gives
Two.
you that feel as Camden. You know what I mean?
Well, here's a fun fact for you. So Major League Two was being
Hmm.
shot before Progressive Field or whatever it's called now was being built. So they actually filmed Major League Two at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and they
Oh,
pretended it was the Indians.
that's right. You know what? That's right. I do know that. That is pretty cool.
So yeah, that progressive or the Jake as I like to call it, Jacobs Field
Right.
back in the day. That was basically just like a replica of Opassi.
I got you. I got you.
But
Yeah.
no, it's the Orioles are really bad, so tickets are cheap. The great food, crabs and barbecue, like it's
Yeah.
got everything.
I think last time I went to a game was $14, so it was great.
Yeah, and parking, plenty of parking. It's cheap,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, just an awesome time.
The
So
walk, the
uh,
walk, I feel is iconic. You got the homeless people walking on the bridge.
yep,
You don't
panhandling.
get that feel many other places. You walk over the bridge, you see that. You look at the Ray Lewis statue. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
It gives you a good little feel for it, especially if you're a tourist coming, never seen it before.
it's a great ballpark. Like
Yeah.
it's really highly rated, and it's always like up there when people are telling you the best in baseball. But I'm assuming, as an Oriole guy, your number one pick is
Definitely Camden Yards. It
yeah,
definitely. I would just say growing up on that stadium was amazing. You know, going every year, a few times a year. I mean, I've done the few tours and stuff when I was younger, you know, how they try to incorporate all the other stadiums. Like, I don't know if you know this, but the center field, like big green wall back there, like the little patio, they actually tried to put ivy on there to represent Wrigley and also
Oh,
represent Way Park for the green monster and to do Wrigley, but they could never get ivy to grow on it. So they just left it as it was.
I
I
didn't
was
know that. That's neat.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I would also say I think the most iconic thing that I enjoy is the plaques on Utah. You know, I
Yes.
remember when I was a kid looking for Ken Griffey's warehouse hit. You know, what I mean, running up and down Utah streets. So that's definitely a big deal for me being down here. I guess you would say. Um, I would say Gary Thorne adds a lot to that too. You
Oh,
know
yeah.
that the voice is up there with Vin Scully for me
Hmm.
hit wise and just the way he calls games. When the Baltimore riots were going on, you know, his little PGA tour
Adam
announcing was
Jones.
iconic. It was the best ever.
Yeah.
Um, it was just great. You know, Cal's when Cal broke the record, you know, when they did the banners and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can't forget that, you know, as long as you, no matter how old you get. I was young when that happened, so you know, I
Yeah.
always remember that. So it was definitely cool.
And Monument Park out there, or like all the
Oh yeah,
statues out there
oh
beyond
yeah.
like right center.
Yeah, you can't beat that. I mean, I know other stadiums have it, but man, something about Baltimore, you know, it's just in the city. You know, you can come right off of getting something to eat at Pickles Pub, and then zipping right to Oriole Park, and then boom, you're at the game. So that's pretty cool. And it's $14 tickets. You can't beat that.
And $14 tickets. Yeah, I
Until
like
like,
that. That was very well put.
yeah. So,
My number one pick
uh
is your number two pick. It is PNC Park in Pittsburgh,
okay, I
and
dig it.
for all the reasons you said, being on the river, you get a little bit of like that San Francisco ball into the water feel. You got to crush it though because it's not as
Right,
easy to hit one in there as San Fran.
right, right. You don't have the kayaks lining up as much as you do
Don't
there.
have the kayaks, but it's got 38,000 seats. I think it only has two levels. It's like lower
Yeah,
deck and upper deck.
yeah. I've never
So
never
yeah,
sat back there on that side to say if it's that way, but I sit like on the lines, third base, first base. But it's definitely a cool looking park. You know, like it gives you that almost like Oracle Park feel. You're sitting in the game in a sense. So
it's
I like
and the view. I mean, the view. If you let, it's baseball porn. If you go to PNC Park, the views are just pure pornography. It is
right, right,
just like you get like that building out there and by the right field foul pole with the little
yeah,
castle on the top.
right, right,
Like it's fantastic. It's cheap like the
yeah,
Orioles. It's easy to get to. You tiny stadium. PNC
yeah,
Park is a bucket list for any baseball fan, even if you don't like the
yeah.
Pirates, which I don't. But
Absolutely, I'm right there with you.